Na subra hii haipaswi kungojewa mpaka baada ya Muislamu kukufuru, bali ni subra ambayo Muislamu anafaa kutekeleza.
Chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali kuu imewekeza kwenye miradi tofauti ya maendeleo katika kaunti mbalimbali ambayo imeleta manufaa mengi kwa wakazi wa mashinani. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
in our different capacities, we must all work closely to tackle any challenges standing in the way of a better Kenya for our people.
Kabla port ijagunduliwa vizuri, ijaanza vizuri, kazi ilikuwa nadra. Lakini venye port ilikuwa revived, venye the president alirevive port, tukaanza kuona opportunities.
Kifika Aero Junction tulikuwa hapo na maburutano ya barabara, na tunaona kama saa hizi lami iko kabisa mpaka nje.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC, informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC, Kenya's listening, Kenya's watching.
Have you applied for placement to university or college through the KUCCPS portal? The deadline for the third and final revision of choices for placement has been extended to the 23rd of July 2021. If you sat the 2020 KCSE examination and have not yet applied for a course, log into the students portal students.kuccps.net and apply. If you applied but did not secure a course, log in and revise your choices again. Visit the KUCCPS website on www.kuccps.ac.ke for details. Don't remain behind. Apply now. #leaving no candidate behind.
21 days into the 7th month of the year 2021. It's exactly 9 o'clock. You're just in time for the latest in Kenya and beyond borders in our comprehensive news bulletin that contains the cocktail of politics that shaped this Wednesday. And of course, also we'll be delving into a very important conversation looking at the medical training in the country, of course, coming in the context of the dynamism of the health needs in our country, looking at technology and the increasing demand of telemedicine. We're also going to be looking at how we are preparing our healthcare workers for the ever-changing world of medicine. We are in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic that has presented quite a number of challenges, a call for research to be done in our country. We will be talking about how we are preparing the future workforce in the health sector to address some of the issues that are emanating as we continue to grow and develop in the medical world. I'll be having this very important conversation in the course of this particular broadcast with Professor Michael Kiptoo. Professor Michael Kiptoo is the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Medical Training College. He's already in studio with us. It's a comprehensive bulletin, something you do not want to miss, that will be coming your way shortly. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and John Jacob Kioria is not with us tonight. He's away on assignment. Hopefully by Sunday he should be with us. But I'm doing this together with none other than Richard Munga on the other side with the latest in the world of sports. Munga, what should he be expecting?
Well, good evening, Serfine, for starters. And a lot has been happening in the world of sports. Perhaps the biggest news today, NOC chairman, that is National Olympic Committee of Kenya president, that is Paul Tergat, has been re-elected to serve in the International Olympic Committee for an additional 8 years. And speaking of the Olympics, the women's football competition kicked off today, despite the fact that the opening ceremony is on Friday. A few shocking results today. World champions USA women, of course, beaten 3-0 by Sweden. Africa's Zambia thrashed 10-3 by the Netherlands, while Australia were 2-1 winners over New Zealand. Well, we shall be having that and a lot more sports updates later on with me, Richard Munga. So see you then.
All right, indeed. Looking forward to that particular part as well. Our sign language interpreter tonight, also doing this together with us, is Anne Wangeshi. Do stay with us. But first, let's get the highlights.
Sasa wamejipata mahali pabaya, kwa sababu saa hizi wanahangaika huko kwa maboardroom wakitafuta sijui tuungane na nani, sijui tuungane na nani, sijui tupange namna gani. Mumesikia wakilalamika ati wasipojipanga hii watu ya wheelbarrow watahama na serikali.
Ours is a focused trajectory. Deputy President William Ruto says politics of the future is not about groupings but the lives of millions of Kenyans.
Bado kuna shida huko, tuko mahakamani tunapigana. Kwa hivyo ile rege iko kwa half time. Itarudi tu.
Still keeping hope alive. ODM leader Raila Odinga says BBI will not be buried by the courts. And promising to stand by devolution, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi vows to unlock Equalization Fund if elected president. Remember also, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube at KBC Channel 1, and also we invite your feedback and your comments in the course of this particular broadcast. Use the hashtag Prime Edition. We'll be sampling some of them as we continue. Let's begin straight away with matters politics. Deputy President William Ruto has said he is not bothered by the ongoing political realignments ahead of the 2022 general elections. He said that the Hustler movement was ready and prepared to face any coalition ahead of the next election.
Speaking in Machakos town Wednesday during a meeting with local small-scale traders, Dr. Ruto said his focus was how to improve the lives of majority of Kenyans who are hustling to put something on the table. The deputy president said opposition leaders have nothing new to show in terms of development during their stints in government, urging Kenyans to ignore them come the next election.
Sasa wamejipata mahali pabaya, kwa sababu saa hizi wanahangaika huko kwa boardroom wakitafuta sijui tuungane na nani, sijui tuungane na nani, sijui tupange namna gani. Mumesikia wakilalamika ati wasipojipanga hii watu ya wheelbarrow watahama na serikali.
He regretted that the Jubilee administration had great plans for Kenyans during its second term, but was disrupted by opposition leaders whom he called to apologize to Kenyans.
Kina mama wanahangaika, uchumi imeenda chini kwa sababu ya utapeli wao, kwamba walikuja wakabadilisha serikali na wakabadilisha priorities ambazo tulikuwa nazo. They need to apologize to the people of Kenya before they tell us anything else they want.
Leaders accompanying the deputy president urged Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to consider working with Dr. Ruto, noting that he had no place in NASA.
Sasa hii mnaambiwa mfuate imewekwa juu ya mawe. Engine imefunguliwa. Sasa unaambiwa ingia hiyo, kwanza tufuge engine, tujaribu kuona kama inaguruma na ile gari ingine ni kujaa inajaa.
Nitawaomba zaidi kwanza msikize Munyaka anasema nini, kwa sababu Munyaka anataka vivyo hivyo tu. Tofauti ni kwamba yeye yako karibu na nyinyi kuliko wao wengine. Na kwa hivyo hii msiambiwe mnapelekana ama mnauza wakamba mnafanya nini.
Suleiman Yeri, Prime Edition.
As that was happening, let's also look at what the ODM leader Raila Odinga was up to. ODM leader Raila Odinga now says time is ripe for the country to open its economy, but with proper laid-down health protocols to curb the spread of COVID-19. Speaking in Mombasa, the ODM leader said the economic ravages brought by the deadly virus has made life unbearable for Kenyans, hence the downward trajectory of the once thriving economy. Have a look.
The ODM leader was in Mombasa for an Eid Baraza organized by Mvita MP Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir. In a thinly veiled attack to DP William Ruto, Odinga urged Kenyans to be very wary of those propagating monetary politics that end up impoverishing the mass.
Si alipinga hii katiba. Kama hiyo katiba ilikuwa mzuri vile anasema leo, mbona alikuwa anapinga? Alikuwa anapinga kwa nini? Kama usio unafiki, sijui unafiki ni nini? Manake yeye mwenyewe ndiye alipinga hii katiba. Ati iko na mahakama ya kadhi hawezi kukubali. Ati hii katiba inahalalisha mambo ya uharibifu wa mimba. Akapinga namna hiyo. Akasema ati hii katiba inaleta ugatuzi. Wakakataa.
Tuache wale wanaotaka kuturudisha katika ile siasa ya mgawanyiko, ile siasa ya kugombanisha watu wenye mali wasio na mali, wadanganya vijana wetu kwamba kuna kitu inaitwa empowerment.
It is the highest degree of hypocrisy. Mtu kuwa ndani ya serikali na unapigana na hiyo serikali, unasema hiyo serikali ndio inawadhulumu watu na wewe hali uko ndani ya hiyo serikali. Kwa hivyo kama wewe unasema serikali inadhulumu watu na wewe uko ndani.
The ODM leader said he was confident that the BBI process will be back on track soon.
Tutazidisha idadi ya kina mama katika bunge na hata katika county government. Na yote maana yake ni kujaribu kuboresha hali ya utawala katika taifa letu. Kwa sababu tumeleta BBI. Sivyo? Sasa bado kuna shida huko, tuko mahakamani tunapigana. Kwa hivyo ile rege iko kwa half time. Itarudi tu.
Odinga at the same time said it was high time for the country to fully open its economy. Meanwhile, Mombasa Deputy Governor William Kingi has made it clear that he will vie for gubernatorial seat in the coming general elections.
Mimi nimetamka kwamba nitasimamia ugavana wa Mombasa mwaka ujao. Na katika sera yangu moja kubwa itakuwa kwamba hakuna mtoto, hakuna kijana ambaye atakosa kusoma akiwa amepasi mtihani katika ngazi yoyote kwa sababu mzazi amekosa karo, amekosa fee.
Reporting for Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Thank you, Michael, for that update. Now on to land rights. Members of the public have until September 21st this year to submit claims relating to historical land injustices. The National Land Commission says it has so far received a total of 740 claims from various parts of the country, with counties like Wajir, Marsabit, Garissa and Turkana yet to submit any claim. The Commission has at the same time put on notice individuals and entities that have acquired public land illegally. Ruth Wamboi reports.
The National Land Commission has unveiled a blueprint for land reform agenda for the year 2021-2022 period. National Land Commission Chairperson Gershom Otachi urging members of the public to file the historical injustices claim before the deadline. Rift Valley, Central and Coastal regions have been cited as the most affected regions.
In terms of filing of those claims, and I think that that expires in a very short while, just about a month away.
At the same time, the Commission is encouraging communities to seek alternative land dispute resolution. Those that have grabbed public land are also on the Commission's radar.
That alternative dispute resolution in a manner that that is easier for the members of the public to engage as opposed to the very formal system in the courts.
The Commission has called for support from Parliament, National Treasury, Attorney General among others in realization of their mandate. The public has been given up to September 21st, 2021 to submit claims on historical land injustices to the National Land Commission. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Ruth Wamboi.
All right, away from that report by Ruth Wamboi, remember in just a bit, we are going to be having that conversation about the status of medical training in the country, how we're striving to remain relevant, how we're also striving to prepare the future workforce for the emerging challenges in the health sector. We'll be talking about that in just a bit. I'll be engaging the Chief Executive Officer at the Kenya Medical Training College, Professor Michael Kipto. Do stay with us, and plus you can start engaging us on social media at KBC Channel 1. We are going to be taking a very short break. We are coming back with Prime Edition after the break.
My name is Mohamud Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with licensed and regulated commercial banks and microfinance institutions. As part of the corporation's public awareness campaign, KDIC, in conjunction with its membership, the banks and the microfinance institution, recently developed KDIC stickers to be displayed in all the banking halls. Be sure to look out for KDIC stickers whenever you visit your bank.
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Ala! Nissan Serena ndio hii. Na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS. Alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza Paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account, weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano, TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali kuu imewekeza kwenye miradi tofauti ya maendeleo katika kaunti mbalimbali ambayo imeleta manufaa mengi kwa wakazi wa mashinani. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
in our different capacities, we must all work closely to tackle any challenges standing in the way of a better Kenya for our people.
Kabla poti ijagunduliwa vizuri, ijaanza vizuri, kazi ilikuwa nadra, lakini venye port ilikuwa revived, venye the president alirevive port, tukaanza kuona opportunities.
Kifika Aero Junction tulikuwa hapo na maburutano ya barabara, na tunaona kama saa hizi lami iko kabisa mpaka nje.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Kevin Rapado, you're watching from Uasin Gishu County. Thank you for creating time. Looking forward to that conversation later. I'm also looking at one reaction here from one of our viewers from Machakos County, Rachel Omoy. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, you can continue engaging us on social media. I'll be sampling some of your views as we continue with this particular broadcast. Now, looking at the ongoing search for IEBC commissioners, the selection panel of the recruitment of IEBC commissioners, chaired by Elizabeth Muli, is set to conclude its exercise on Friday this week, with only 6 candidates yet to be interviewed for the position of IEBC commissioners. On Wednesday, Dr. Salim Ndemo, Colonel Said Hamis and Celestine Anna Biki Uluku took the hot seat, promising to strictly discharge their duties based on policies of the Commission.
With only 2 days left before the vetting panel chaired by Elizabeth Muli concludes the search for 4 IEBC commissioners, former Public Service Commissioner Dr. Salim Ndemo appeared before the panel on Wednesday. Dr. Ndemo, who once served as a district officer, recommended the establishment of a security directorate at the IEBC to look at security issues during, before and after the elections.
Those officials will sit, of course, with the entire village, and then once they sit, they get co-opted members from various government agencies, police, KWS, including health, all those people that are concerned with people's affairs. And that when they do that, they prioritize what is the problem here.
When Colonel Sahid Hamis Sahid, who has 34 years experience in the military, appeared before the panel, the interviewers were concerned on how he would use his military background to command the commission.
There's chaos all over the country. The commission is divided along partisan lines. And you are on the commission, what would you do?
Instead of the commissioners fighting, there should be a kind of discussion and investigation on what happened on those polling stations. Not to fight.
When the commissioner. On her part, former Salaries and Remuneration Commissioner Celestine Anna Mbiki Uluki vowed to use her vast experience in the human resource management to prevent any wrangles in the commission.
When I get there as a commissioner is to ensure that the commission and the secretariat integrate as one commission. And that can be done through team building. It can be done through issues to do with getting feedback from the commissions.
The exercise set to conclude on Friday this week. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Moving on, the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has condemned the delay in the implementation of the Equalization Fund, saying it was hurting marginalized counties. Speaking at Ildemat, Kajiado Central Sub-County during the launch of Ildemat Boys Secondary School, Muturi said the fund's implementation was long overdue, saying if given a chance to lead this nation, its actualization will be top priority. The Speaker took a swipe on leaders who have delayed the implementation, saying their egos were helping nothing.
Ya kila mtu kuomba kitu chochote. Hakuna mtu ambaye amekatazwa. Kuna pesa nyingine ambayo seneti yetu imekaa sana bila kufanya kazi ile ambayo inatakiwa kufanya. Ile pesa ya Equalization Fund. Na sasa sheria zake tumepitisha juzi. Hiyo pesa inatakiwa kufaidi sana sehemu kama hizi.
Professionals in the media industry have paid tribute to the late Hilary Ngweno, saying his contribution to the media industry will forever remain engraved in annals of history. The late Ngweno was described by peers and players in the sector as having played a part in instilling professionalism in the industry. As part of remembering the icon in the industry, the Kenya Editors Guild will dedicate an award on his honor to exemplary journalists annually. Purity Museo with this report.
Say that we prided ourselves a lot more in right.
The remembrance of the late legendary Kenyan journalist Hilary Ngweno by professionals in the media industry, his contribution in the promotion of media freedom and credible content was showcased in an event meant to honor the departed hero. Media colleagues mourning Ngweno as the greatest of Kenyan journalists and one who did more for the profession than any has ever done.
Hilary is therefore hasn't been given enough credit. When people talk about Hilary, they talk about Weekly Review, they talk about the publications, but they don't realize the strides, what he opened even in the broadcast sector for us.
And he knew how to play the game. Anytime there was too much pressure on one end, he would fall back and try to manage it.
I stand here exultant that Hilary took it upon himself to selflessly lay the foundation, working under the most difficult of circumstances.
The Kenya Editors Guild has since launched an annual media award dubbed the Ngweno Prize to honor his contribution to freedom of the media in the country.
The Guild declares that there shall be the Ngweno Prize starting the year 2021, starting this year.
Let us all give young people an opportunity. In our media houses, many of us are still holding quality knowledge that we are not transferring to young people.
Ngweno died on the 7th of July 2021 after a long battle with degenerative disease. Purity Museo, Prime Edition.
Indeed, it's a big loss to the media fraternity in Kenya at large. He beautifully documented Kenya's history. We celebrate him despite not having started from a training in media. He went ahead to have a successful media career that trickled down into the lives of great media personalities in the country. He is going to be celebrated for years to come for his efforts and achievements in this particular industry. Now, moving on, Chief Justice Martha Koome has urged East African courts to adapt the court annexed mediation and settle matters expeditiously in order to clear case backlogs and improve access to justice in the region. Koome is in the meantime encouraging the courts to explore more avenues for partnerships. Speaking during the closing ceremony of the strategic plan validation meeting of the East African Court of Justice, President of the Court, Justice Nestor Kayobera, urged judges in the region to continue strengthening their laws to ensure access to justice for all.
We need to embrace mediation. We need to embrace alternative dispute resolution. So this is a big agenda in my vision for the transformation of the judiciary, or to scaling up the transformation of the judiciary to another level. I look at mediation as a huge project.
Now let's move on to other matters. Efforts to curb radicalization have received a boost following the launch of Nairobi's first detention facility for female violent extremist prisoners at Lang'ata Maximum Women's Prison. The 10.7 million shillings facility will hold 12 prisoners. Kenya Prisons Commissioner General Wycliffe Ogalo lauded the move, saying it will help rehabilitate extremists and protect other prisoners. United Kingdom Deputy High Commissioner Josephine Gold, who graced the occasion, Foundation say the Preventing Violent Extremism program, which was founded in 2017, aims at supporting fair treatment and conditions for prisoners. Over 600 officers have been trained on violent extremist risk assessment.
This is meant to isolate these cadre of criminals from the rest. The key word here is radicalization. You get me? So would rather they be in accommodation wherein the other. You also know what informs terrorism. It's all about radicalization.
These prisoners are often people who have themselves been radicalized in a range of different settings, and we don't want them to be radicalizing other perhaps vulnerable prisoners who are, could be susceptible to influence whilst they're detained. So we want to keep them separate and also run rehabilitation programs with them to try and help them understand what they've done and help out the consequences of what they've done.
All right, that report takes us to another break right here on Prime Edition. Thank you, our correspondent Kioko from Thika, for watching tonight. Pius Oyugi, you're watching together with your family wife Agnes in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Thank you so much. And of course, we appreciate all our viewers also from Nairobi. I can see here from Mathare, Daniel Kariuki, thank you so much for tuning in. You have a question for my guest. You're asking how medical training institutes are preparing the workforce for skill-based, for skill-based courses. I will be getting clarity on this particular question and getting my guest to answer that as we continue. Thank you so much. We are taking a very short break right now. When we come back, that very important conversation on the status of medical training in our country. Do stay with us.
Munaona bendera? Ile rangi nyeusi ni nini? Ni nyinyi. Alama, ile ndio alama yenu, ile sura yenu. Nyeusi. Hadi nchi hii ni nchi ya nani? Ya mweusi. Na kule mnaona ile rangi nyekundu, hiyo ni nini? Hiyo ndio damu yenu. Ati mtu nyeusi ambayo iko na damu nyekundu kama binadamu yote. Na mnaona ile kabichi. Kabichi ni nini? Ni udongo yenu, nchi yenu ambayo iko na rutuba mingi, tena iko na majani kabichi. Hii yote ndio nyinyi mnaona. Si ile nyingi. Kama nchi kavu itakuwa na kabichi. Sasa angalieni. Na ile nyeupe inaonyesha nini? Ile inaonyesha maziwa yetu ambayo inatiririka kutoka kwa matiti ya ng'ombe, ambayo watoto wanateka. Kama wamekiza kula manyanyasi, wanatoa ile maziwa ambayo watoto wote wanalishwa na watu wote wananenepa kwa maziwa ya ng'ombe yetu. Unasikia hii wana wa Kenya?
Tena nyamazo, usinifanye nijute kwa nini nilikuzaa.
Mimi naota mahali lakini sipajui, lakini hapo mahali kuna sauti.
Mimi na stress zangu mimi mwenyewe. Can you just understand me?
Make me understand. And I knew. Maya.
Utanifanya nini mama? Utanilaani? Utanitoa uhai? Uwezi.
This is where it all began.
As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC. Informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC. Kenya's listening. Kenya's watching.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now want to start our conversation straight away talking about the status of medical training in the country. And to have this conversation with me is Professor Michael Kipto, the Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Medical Training College. Thank you for creating time for us tonight. Let's start here. Earlier this month you were in Chemolingot, Tiati constituency in Baringo, to sort of set up or launch the Kenya Medical Training College in that particular constituency. I find that interesting because that is like a very marginalized area that has been marred with a lot of challenges such as insecurity and all. Probably to begin this conversation, what do you think is the value add for the community to have such an institution set up within their boundaries?
Thank you very much. What is very important is that we want to ensure that we can actually take the training to the lowest level. The advantage for the community is that they will be able to utilize that facility, get the students within that area who could not probably get an opportunity to do medical training. Now that it is closer to them, they can actually be day scholars and they can still get the training that they need. The other thing we have also made sure is to ensure that as we set up such a facility, we make sure that we have all the necessary equipments. Human resource capital is required to be able to ensure that the people we produce have the skills and competencies that will serve humankind, especially now that we are talking about medical training.
All right. KMTC actually produces a large percentage of the workforce we have in our healthcare sector. I just want us to look at the journey. Is it 1927 when it was founded? How have you seen this transition? What would you say has been the biggest milestone in terms of the kind of training we give the future workforce in the medical sector? What is it that you feel is actually a step in the right direction, something we are getting as we transition from, I believe things have changed from 1927. What is that one thing that you can say is your biggest milestone?
The biggest milestone is we only started in 1927 and we are only in Nairobi. The biggest milestone is that now we are in 44 counties, which we have brought medical training closer to the people. We have also taken advantage of technology. And for me, what I've seen really working for us is when COVID came in, it was a blessing in disguise, because yes, we are losing people, but at the same time, it made us to use technology more, so that we use now e-learning platform. We have networked all the 71 campuses across the country, seamless in terms of teaching, also in terms of day-to-day running of that the campuses which are spread across. We are able to monitor from the headquarters and know exactly what is happening across the 71 campuses. By a click of a button, we'll be able to know the finances in which campus, who has taught today, who has not taught, because we do a lot of monitoring. So to me, that's the milestone. That
so the colleges are kind of connected and networked.
Yes, and networked.
All right, all right. In terms of the content, though, also looking at the demands in the world of medicine, right now we are having emerging diseases, we are having an increasing demand for telemedicine. You know, COVID has taught us quite a number of lessons. Are we also changing the curriculum? Are we also aligning it to the dynamism in the medical world?
In terms of curriculum, each curriculum is reviewed every 5 years. Thus, you cannot go beyond 5 years before you review. And that ensures that we put in new technology that has come in, new information that has come in. Like now, COVID is already part of our curriculums. We have already incorporated that so that each student will be able to go through basics on how to ensure prevention and safety. What we have also done is that we have 18 programs with over 71 courses, so that it allows us to specialize in specific areas. We have radiology, which is important. We have optometry, which is basically looking at the eye. We have nursing. We have clinical medicine, we have medical engineering, just to mention a few. And all these programs are reviewed every 5 years or even earlier, depending on need.
But you see, even during this time of COVID, there has been that constant cry of, you know, where are our innovators, where are our researchers, while the whole world is focused around researching and learning about this new pandemic. Sort of, you know, as a country, we feel like we have not done justice in terms of research, in terms of innovation. You worked at Cambridge for some time. Do you think there is a gap perhaps in terms of our level of investment in research and innovation as this world keeps changing?
I can say that we are the right journey, in that if you look the way COVID was handled, and even as a country, the first sequencing was done in Kilifi, Cambridge Trust, and that clearly tells you we are up to the game as researchers in this country. The only challenge that is there in research is that the government needs to spend more or allocate more resources through the national treasury, so that we can have the latest equipments to be able to do research, do productions. But I can assure you that that work is going on currently in Cambridge. As an institution, we are also doing research as Kenya Medical Training College, and that gives us an opportunity to carry out operational research. The basic sciences, we leave it for Cambridge because they have the personnel and they have the kind of equipment. Because basically for us is to train so that we can offer service delivery. So we are yet to go into deep research, but we are doing currently what I refer as operational research that is currently going on by our students and also staff. Because for the students to graduate, they must undertake a project.
All right. I don't know why I feel like time is slipping through my hands. There's so much to cover. But generally, just asking you, as we just about to wind up this conversation, if you look at the health sector, what do you think are some of the issues, the challenges that are there? And as somebody in charge of an institution training the future workforce in this sector, what are you already doing as a proactive approach to deal with some of these issues?
The biggest challenge will be the issue of the health facilities, where we need to train the students, because they need to do practicums, and practicums can only be done in the health facilities. So there are limitations. If we want to train specialists in nephrology, we are limited by the health facilities that actually have theaters and have the right equipment for us to use for training. What we have done as a college is to do what we refer as simulation. We have laboratories which is similar to what is happening in the hospital, because in the real world you don't want to start touching a patient, a human being, before going through the rigorous training which we do in our skills laboratories, where we take our students through the theory and the practicals, and we do simulation. And we'll be opening a facility next week here in Nairobi, Nairobi campus, where it is fully loaded simulation laboratory, where you have a complete theater, you have all the equipments required for nephrology, and that will be linked to all our campuses at the same time, so that people can follow the teaching online from that laboratory, which is specialized. Because if you are to do an actual operation, you can do it from there. So those are the new things that we're bringing on board. And also the networking ensures that we train people now that technology has changed. People are moving to telemedicine. You don't need to physically be there. The doctor can be coordinated, and that will also reduce the demand for the human capital. Because if you have an X-ray machine in Mandera and we don't have a specialist there, the specialist can be here in Nairobi and will be able to read the results that have been taken from Mandera.
All right, thank you. Just a question from our viewer, David Kiarie from Mathare. He was asking, how are you ensuring that your training is skill-oriented? And of course, also one from Morris. Morris asks, how can we stop exporting our healthcare workers? I believe exporting by the fact that after you've trained them, they get to look for greener pastures abroad. Just briefly answer those two questions as we wind up.
As I said earlier, that our training is hands-on. And basically that's how now we bring in the skills that are required. And being in a medical training, you must ensure that the practicals, so we put more emphasis on practicals than the theory. The issue of us losing human capital is because we don't have enough opportunities. We still need health workers in our facilities. But the challenge is that resources are not enough to employ all of them. And even when they go out, it is important that, because they are plowing back to the country again, so we are not losing anything. And the human resource in the future we'll have to export.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor. I wish we could have more time for this conversation. It's very important. I believe we should be picking up this conversation in the near future, just digging deeper into this. Professor Michael Kipto, the Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Medical Training College. You are talking about the status of medical training in the country. The show continues. We'll be coming back with more. There's still, sports and business lined up ahead for you. Do stay with us.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash.
Mambo mema huwaendea watu wanaosubiri, ila mambo mema zaidi huwaendea watu wanaoyatafuta. Kupata mambo mema ni kufanikiwa, na kufanikiwa ni kutabasamu, kutafakari na kuhesabu mema na baraka ulizozichukulia hatua, ukazitafuta na kuzipata. Amka, tafuta ufanisi wako.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash. Star 811 star 815 hash.
My name is Mohamud Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with licensed and regulated commercial banks and microfinance institutions. As part of the corporation's public awareness campaign, KDIC, in conjunction with its membership, the banks and the microfinance institution, recently developed KDIC stickers to be displayed in all the banking halls. Be sure to look out for KDIC stickers whenever you visit your bank.
KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Chini
Chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali kuu imewekeza kwenye miradi tofauti ya maendeleo katika kaunti mbalimbali ambayo imeleta manufaa mengi kwa wakazi wa mashinani. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254,
in our different capacities, we must all work closely to tackle any challenges standing in the way of a better Kenya for our people.
Kabla port ijagunduliwa vizuri, ijaanza vizuri, kazi ilikuwa nadra, lakini venye port ilikuwa revived, venye the president alirevive port, tukaanza kuona opportunities.
Kifika Aero Junction tulikuwa na hapo na maburutano ya barabara, na tunaona kama saa hizi lami iko kabisa mpaka nje.
It's now time for us to focus on the latest in the world of business. Now, the government has commenced the relocation of the 240 kilometers of fiber optic cable from Rironi to Mau Summit as the construction of the multi-billion shillings Rironi to Mau Summit gets underway. ICT Principal Secretary Jerome Achieng has said the relocation is expected to take 6 weeks to complete.
State agencies have been busy clearing the 174 kilometers Rironi to Mau Summit Highway in readiness for the expansion of the road. The 168 billion shillings project is being undertaken by Rift Valley Connect Consortium, which comprises of French Farms Vinci Highways SAS, Meridian Infrastructure Africa Fund and Vinci Concessions SAS. This is expected to be the biggest public-private partnership project ever undertaken in the region.
For an ordinary person, the only way to tell them is that actually that fiber is the reason why you are using your phone. Otherwise, without that fiber, you would not be using your phone. Why? Because it is the line now that creates that network that enables you to communicate. So, fiber and fiber connectivity has become part and parcel of our lives, just the same way water and electricity is part and parcel of our lives.
Some of the utilities target in the relocation are power cables, fiber optic and water systems. ICT Principal Secretary Jerome Achieng has said the relocation of the fiber optic cable will be undertaken by 4 companies in a span of 6 weeks.
The project implementation team, you have a big task of ensuring that you continue with your collaboration, and us who are at the highest level of governance structure of this will continue to get report. But since we get report after events have taken place, it's very important that actually at your level you communicate continuously.
The companies are Aldian, Whitespace, Soliton and Geonet, which have been divided into 4 sections. Under the new project, all telcos will share one tunnel instead of creating multiple lines.
Now, moving on, diaspora remittance increased for the 6 months to June this year to 190 billion shillings, defying harsh economic times and COVID-19. Latest data by the Central Bank of Kenya shows that remittances from Europe jumped by the highest margins at 41.4%, followed by North America, which increased by 38%. This is the highest jump since 2018, setting the stage for record remittances for 2021.
In the last 6 years, diaspora remittances have become the Kenya's largest source of foreign exchange since 2015, when they overtook earnings from horticulture and tea. This has made Kenya the largest recipient of diaspora remittance in the region and the 3rd biggest in the sub-Saharan Africa, behind Nigeria and South Africa. The United Nations projects diaspora remittance have become the largest source of foreign direct investment in the developing world within this decade. Latest data from the Central Bank of Kenya show that in the first half of 2021, Kenyans living abroad sent a total of 190 billion shillings, defying economic times brought about by COVID-19. This is more than 30 billion shillings more than the 158 billion shillings sent in a corresponding period in 2020. Money from Canada, the United States and Mexico hit 115.7 billion shillings, accounting for 61% of total remittances, up from 53.1% in the first half of 2020. Kenyans living in Europe sent a total of 38.6 billion shillings, equivalent of 20.4% of all inflows, while the rest of the world brought 35.1 billion shillings. The United States continues to be the largest source of remittances into Kenya, accounting for 58.8% of remittances in June 2021, according to the CBK report.
Games in Japan, despite the absence of defending champion Conseslus Kipruto. Bet, the 3,000 meter steeplechase world under 20 silver medalist, is in the Kenyan team, which also has Benjamin Kigen and Abraham Kibiwot. Bet says they have already devised a plan as a team to thwart any threat from the likes of the informed Soufiane El Bakali of Morocco. As he prepares to make his debut at the Games, Bet believes he is in the right shape to compete at the highest level, despite the enormous pressure from the expectations bestowed upon them by Kenyans. Kenya has won the steeplechase event at the Olympics a record 11 times. National Olympic Committee of Kenya, NOC, President Paul Tergat has been re-elected as a member of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, for another 8-year term during the ongoing IOC session of the 138th General Assembly on the eve of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Tergat, who was first elected as a member of the coveted International Sports Board in 2013 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, entered into his second term at the IOC despite, or rather during, an extraordinary Olympic Games that was postponed a year ago due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. The re-election at the session, alongside 4 other members of IOC, follows another appointment early this year in March into the IOC Refugee Foundation as a board member. Now, globally, Milwaukee Bucks beat the Phoenix Suns 105-98 to win their first NBA title since 1971. The Suns were seeking a first NBA crown in their 53-year history, having also lost NBA Finals series in 1976 and 1993.
Exactly 3 weeks after suffering a knee injury that appeared to put his role in the finals in doubt, Giannis Antetokounmpo carried Milwaukee to their first championship in half a century. With the victory, the Bucks clinched the NBA Finals 4-2 and became only the 5th team to win the best-of-7 championship series after losing the first 2 games. Paul scored 13 points in the first half, igniting a 31-point second quarter to lift the Suns out of panic mode. Giannis scored 33 in the second half alone, including his 50th point on a game-sealing free throw with 9.8 seconds remaining. Surprisingly, after struggling with his free throw shooting throughout the playoffs, he ended 17 of 19 from the foul line to eliminate the Suns.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, helping the Bucks come back from 2-0 down in the 7-game series to clinch it 4-2. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now back to the local scene. Kariobangi Sharks moved up to the 3rd position on the FKF Premier League standings after beating Gor Mahia 2-1 in one of the 5 matches played today. Eric Apaito and Robert Onyango scored for Sharks. That is the 2 crucial goals, with Jules Limwengu netting a consolation for Gor Mahia. Sharks are now third on the table on 44 points. points, 7 points behind second place KCB, who are 4 points behind Tusker FC after beating Ulinzi Stars 2-1 in the second match of the day. Gor Mahia have remained fifth on 40 points, just 3 points behind arch rival CFC Leopards, who sit fourth. In the other matches played today, Wazito defeated Kakamega Homeboys 1-0. Vihiga United drew 0-0 with Nairobi City Stars. All Posta Rangers also played to a goalless draw against Nzoia Sugar.
Goli lake la kwanza la msimu dhidi ya bingwa mtetezi. Unajua kama shafa na shughuli yetu. Ikabu ile letwa Babateza Shakava anakuja hapa. Jules Ulimwengu anapachika kitu kimiani hapa, angalau goli kufutia machozi kwa Gor Mahia. Aula liwe goli muhimu kabisa kwa rejea. Anafunga goli lake la 22. Eric Kapaito anaisahihisha rekodi kwa mchezaji John Wall. Joel sasa Regan tunakuja Peter Wasa. Regan anaibadilisha Mitabindi pembezoni kulia kule, anaishokesha chini kwa vizuri wa Onyango pili bila. Robert Onyango anamchungulia Matthews, yuko wapi? Anafunga goli lake la kwanza la msimu dhidi ya bingwa mtetezi. Unajua kama shafa na shughuli yetu. Ikabu ile letwa Babateza Shakava anakuja hapa. Jules Ulimwengu anapachika kitu kimiani hapa, angalau goli kufutia machozi kwa Gor Mahia. Aula liwe goli muhimu kabisa kwa rejesha mchezoni. Harun Shakava kana kwamba mpira umegol kwenye mkono. Mwamuzi anasema iko sawa kabisa.
Well, that's all the time we had for sports, but as I said when we were starting the bulletin, the Olympic Games starting on Friday, a lot to look forward to, and today the women's competition started. Some of the results, of course: Australia 2-1 winners over New Zealand, world champions United States losing 3-0 to Sweden, and well, the shocker, Arsenal's Viviane Miedema, obviously the women's team, not the men's team, scoring 4 goals as the Netherlands beat Zambia 10-3. Quite impressive, really.
Yeah, indeed. I wouldn't even want to delve into that. Don't dare me.
Anyway, that's it from me.
But a lot to look forward to, and we wish, our Kenyan team the very best.
Yeah, actually, congratulations to Paul Tergat. Yeah. We had that report earlier on. Yeah. Quite impressive seeing a Kenyan serve in that position for that long. So, way to go, Kenya, inspiring others to, follow in his footsteps.
Indeed. And KBC remains your true sports partner, so keep watching KBC Channel 1 for that action and much more. And that is how we wrap it up right here on Prime Edition on this Wednesday night. Thank you so much for creating time for us. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma. John Jacob Kuria couldn't join us tonight, but we hope that he should be doing that on Sunday. Our sign language interpreter has been Ann Wangeshi. Have a good night.
Well, good night.
Asante sana mpenzi mtazamaji, mahali popote unanitizama. Kwa majina najulikana kama Mutumishi Asante Yesu. Oh yes, na hapa kwenye Quickbit kumbuka tunakuambia ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini. Na kila siku ni bidhaa bora tunapeana. Tuko na TV, tuko na fridge, tuko na gas cooker, tuko na